Hi everyone, it's Bethany. Welcome back. In this video, we are going to have fun with placing ribbon on cards, and this is so fun. So the Stamp Market just released a beautiful line of ribbon, and they were kind enough to send me all of their ribbon and a fun little variety of new accessories that they have. I was absolutely giddy when I opened this box because I wasn't quite sure what I would do with ribbons on cards, but when I saw the little accessories that they had, I was all in. So I'm going to share some of the things that I have here, plus we're going to make a card today, but I have a lot of examples on how you can use ribbon on cards. And look at the colors. Aren't they just gorgeous? They are so pretty. They also sent me over some of their little mini cubes. So this is fun too because they coordinate well with the little ribbons. So I am in love with this idea. They have two different sizes. The first size is 5/8, and it's that's just a beautiful size. I love that. And then the smaller size is 1/4 of an inch. Isn't that neat? I love both sizes. They work beautifully. And we are going to look at each size on a couple examples of cards that I have made. And then we are going to use the 5/8 and do a project together. And I'll show you how easy it is to do ribbon on cards. It's so fun. Okay, so let's start out with this really neat cover plate die. Now this is a really fun die because this is going to essentially give you a template to create and weave your little ribbon through. So I think this is so neat. So on its own, let me show you, on its own, this is what that die would look like. So you can also use this to simply have it as like a nice background panel, which is super, super fun. But I wanted to show you what that looks like cut out, and then I'll show you some with ribbon. So I had fun with this card right here. I used, again, some of the really fun little ink cubes that they sent over, and I used their really beautiful new stamp set. Look at this stamp set. Isn't this pretty? They sent me the stamp set with the coordinating dies as well. And the font is just gorgeous. We have a nice day, so nice of you. It's a nice day to have a nice day. Thank you for being so nice. Plus we have some really pretty flowers. Aren't those pretty? So I used this little sentiment right here, and I did some gold heat embossing. And then of course I did a really fun little 5 of flowers that just turned out really fun. So I love how that looks. And I also loved that if I didn't want to do ribbon on a card, I could use this die to do a really nice background. So that is a really fun little idea. So that's the first card. Now for ribbon, I also used that same die to create this beautiful card, and then I weaved some ribbon through. Isn't that fun? And it is relaxing. It is so relaxing to do. Now I will say I prefer to use a really thick cardstock when doing this. So I used 110-pound cardstock, and more often than not I actually layered 2 on top of one another and glued them together. You certainly don't have to. I've done it both ways, but I also really liked just the dimension and depth that came with using 2 layers of that 110-pound cardstock. So that is one fun little idea for weaving that ribbon through that beautiful die. And then I also used their really pretty high die. It comes with the high, and then it also comes with a background shadow layer. So I did a nice gold glitter and then a white on the back. And I stacked those up pretty high so that we had lots of dimension there. But isn't that pretty? It's so fun. Okay, so let's look more at this die again. We also can cover the entire little die with ribbon from left to right. Isn't that neat? And then I skipped one just to have a little bit of interest and just show some paper through there. But that is what it will look like to have the whole thing stitched, or not stitched out, but have ribbon throughout the whole thing. Isn't that pretty? And then I decided to add, actually my husband said, you need to add some vellum behind that hello. I had it without vellum first, and there was just not enough contrast. And I was so impressed with him. Isn't that cool? He was just like, no, I think vellum would be better. Isn't that fun that he's, I don't know, he's kind of getting into it as well. So that is one other idea for how you can get a really, really pretty and colorful look with ribbon on a card. And then I also used the same die, but I did more of a plaid look for this. So I kind of crisscrossed some colors in there and then also brought in that stamp set one more time with some gold heat embossing to do a really fun sentiment. So lots of ideas for how you can use just that one die to create a variety of fun looks there. And again, if you wanted to skip ribbon altogether, you could use it as a background. So I really like that. You could also cut this out of colored cardstock as well, and that would be gorgeous too. Okay, so I also wanted to show you how you can use just simple ribbon. So if you didn't want to do any weaving, you could just glue ribbon to your cardstock, and then I used some of their alphabet stamps or dies that I have, and I'll link those down below. And then I just cut that out, and then you have your little beautiful ribbon providing that beautiful color right through there. Isn't that fun? I really like that. This is simple, this is really quick, but it's so pretty. So there is another idea for ribbon on cards. Now I want to show you the other little set of dies that they sent over because they are so neat. So they also sent over, now these all came connected, but they sent over this little collection here, and this is so fun. So you can use the smaller one for that 1/4 of an inch ribbon, the larger one for that 5/8 of an inch ribbon, and then we have a little bit more of a nice scallop, which if you know me, that is just absolutely me. And then we have a little straight one as well. So we are going to get inspired with this little die here. We're gonna again use that 5/8 ribbon, and I thought we could do a really fun rainbow card. And this will give you an idea of just how easy and fun it is to use ribbon on cards. Plus the templates that these dies create are just so fun, and the possibilities are endless. All right, let's go ahead and get started. I'm also going to use this Hello die with the shadow layer. So let me remove everything else. Let's grab some cardstock and let's start creating. Okay, so what I have here is I have that little scalloped die. Isn't that neat? It's going to give us our little template, and I'm going to place that on some 110-pound cardstock just once. Again, I was telling you could cut this out twice and glue it together if you wanted something thicker, but for the idea and direction of the card that I am going for, I'm only going to cut this out once. So what I'm going to do is just place that through my Gemini, and then we'll select our ribbon. Okay, so I went ahead and cut that out, and as you can see, it cuts out beautifully. So let's just remove this from the die, and then I'm going to set that to the side, but I am going to use this and cut this same little design out 5 more times because I want a total of 6. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use my little pokey tool to poke out all those little middles because this is going to provide our little slots for weaving that ribbon through. And this reminds me of like little crafts that I would do as a kid where you would just go in and out, and it's so relaxing. I've spent the last 2 or 3 nights just making cards with this ribbon, and it's just been a really fun way to be still and quiet, and it's been really fun. Again, I haven't been this excited about card making in a long time. I think this is definitely something you're going to want to add to your craft space. Okay, so I'm going to remove all of those little pieces, and now I'm going to select the ribbon that I want to use for this card. So I'm thinking I'm going to do blush, and then I'm going to do bubblegum, and again the 5/8, and then I will do melon and golden. Let's also bump over to julep and this tropic. And I think that's beautiful. That's where I want to go with this. Okay, so I'm going to start with my first ribbon. I am going to just trim it to size. So roughly about there. Okay, then I can put this one back. And now I'm going to weave this through my little paper. Okay, so I'm going to start at one side and I'm just going to go up through the back. Okay, and then I'll go down. Just gotta sneak it on in there. Okay, and then I'm just gonna pull that through until I have, I don't know, maybe a 1/2 inch on that side. Doesn't really matter, you can even do more because we have plenty of ribbon. Okay, and then I am simply going to repeat those steps. So then I'll go to the next one and go up and then down, pull that through, and then I will just continue until I have filled all these little spots and placed my ribbon throughout this entire little die. Okay, so up and down, and you get the idea. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish this one. Isn't that neat? It's so cool. And again, you have another version for the 1/4 inch ribbon. And then you also have, if you didn't want to do scallops, you also have these little straight ones as well. This is just genius. This whole system is so fun. Okay, so as a reminder, I'll place links to everything that you see me using today, but they also have additional accessories for their ribbon system. So be sure to check out their site, but I'll be sure to also link everything that you see on my craft table. Let me finish this up and then I will show you the direction that we're going to take this card. Okay, so I am placing my ribbon through that last little spot, and that is how it's going to look when it's done. Now, the next thing that I am going to do, let me move this off to the side. I am going to turn this over, and I'm just going to take some of my glue, and I am going to just place a little line. You really don't need much. I'm gonna place a little line right here, and then I will just press that ribbon into place. And that is honestly enough just to tack that down. Okay, and then I'm going to turn over, or flip around really, do the same thing to this side, and then just glue that into place. Now we'll trim these down in a little bit, but there is our final little look. Isn't that pretty? I think that's so pretty. Okay, so again, now I'm going to take my remaining colors and I am going to weave them through my other little strips of paper. So let me go ahead and do that and then we'll continue building this card. But I'm gonna use all of these and it's going to turn out so pretty. Okay, so now I have all of my little pieces done. I'm gonna place those in the order that I would like to create with. Aren't those neat? Now, what I'm going to do is, now that these are dry, I gave those just a little bit of time to dry, I'm going to take my scissors and I'm simply going to just trim off each side with that remaining ribbon. Now you can keep this ribbon and do things with it. I am going to go ahead and finish each little piece off and just trimming as close as I can. There we go. And this side. Aren't these colors so pretty? I love their whole color palette. Just such gorgeous colors. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring in a panel, and this is an A2 size panel. We have 5.5 by 4.25, and I am going to glue my little strips down. So I'm going to start with the bottom of my rainbow, and I'm going to go up from there because I want them to overlap. Isn't that going to be pretty? So what I will do is I am going to take the back, let me move this up here. I'm going to take the back of my little ribboned piece and I'm going to place glue right on the paper pieces. Now I don't want to do it on the ribbon because I don't want it to show through the ribbon and get soggy, or you know how it is when you get glue on glue on ribbon. So I'm going to avoid the ribbon, and then I'm going to just take this little piece and place it down at the bottom, straighten it out, and then I'm just going to hold that there just for a moment and let that really set. And I can even bring in a little brick just like that to let that set while I get the next one prepped. Okay, so again, I'm going to focus on just the paper pieces and avoiding the ribbon. That way it just keeps that nice organic look to it. It doesn't have any glue look that's trying to seep through. Of course, if you get a little bit on it, it's fine, and I've done that, but doing my best to avoid it. Okay, now I'm going to take this line this up with a little bit of an overlap. So probably just about there. Okay, make sure it's nice and even. I like that. Okay, and you're gonna have to press down just for a minute, but it does stick. You just have to give it some time to rest. Okay, now I'm going to move on to my yellow, but I think what I'll do is I will do in between, just like I have on these little paper strips, but I also think that on the side, well, it would really be the top, that is on the cardstock, I'm going to add a little bit of glue to this top piece. Okay, there we go. Turn that over. Okay, so I added the glue to the top as well. That way when it meets with our little cardstock panel, it's going to give us a little bit more. Okay, there we go. Just lining that up where I'd like it. And that looks good. Press that down. Pretty, pretty. Okay, let me just hold that in place for just a minute. Okay, and again, putting my block right on there and letting that really set. Okay, I'm going to continue doing the same thing with the rest of my color ribbon strips. And then we'll have a really pretty rainbow look with ribbon and paper. Isn't this neat? I feel like this, and that's why I created for days before even creating a card on camera, because I was so inspired with so many directions that you could take this. I mean, I feel like we say the possibility is endless. I feel like we use that phrase a lot, but honestly, the possibilities are endless with this. It's just, there's so many options and looks that you can create and color palettes that you can use. I just love it. Okay, letting that set. Oops, I think I got that a little crooked. Hold on. Let's see here. There we go. Perfect. And we'll just let that set. And it really adheres nicely if you are just patient enough to let it set. Okay, and there we go. Now for more inspiration, I am participating in their Instagram hop today. So if you want to see even more ideas for how to use this ribbon, go over to Instagram. My handle or name is the same as you see on here, Bethadilly, and I'll link my Instagram down below too. But we are doing an Instagram hop today, sharing other ways that you can use and be inspired with this ribbon collection. And my goodness, everyone has such great ideas. I can't wait to purchase more of the little accessories that go along with it. She sent me a few, and they're even more than this. So I'm definitely going to add to cart because I can just see myself playing with this over and over. Okay, so I'm going to do this last one, and then I'm going to focus on my sentiment. Let me nudge that over just a hair. Whoops. Oh, there we go. That worked. Okay, I'm going to focus on my sentiment. So what I'll do is I will let this really sit. I'm going to bring some additional blocks in. Okay. And I'm going to just really give that the grace of time. And while I do that, I'm going to go ahead and grab some cardstock. I'm going to use this little shadow layer, and I'm going to cut this out quite a few times out of white, and then I'm going to do this one out of gold, and then I'll do some white underneath just so we can build it up. But let me get some gold. Okay, so I have gold that I'm going to do on that inside layer, and I'll go ahead and cut that out. Okay, and again, what I'll do is I will run this through quite a few more times. Let's say 3 additional times on white cardstock. That way I can place the gold on top, but really build it up underneath. And there we go. Okay, so I will just pop all these little pieces out, run this through a few more times to get some layers, and then I'll also run it through with our shadow layer with some white. Okay, so I have, let's see, 4 layers, and this is 110-pound cardstock. I also used 110-pound cardstock for 3 additional, but our gold will make up the 4th layer. And this is just going to really add a lot of dimension, which I really, really like. I'm going to go ahead and do my thinner ones first, because then I'm going to set them under a block and really let them set while I do the shadow layer. The shadow layer is so easy because we have so much more area to glue, but this can be a little intricate, though it really does glue really well together. So let me know in the comment section. I would love to hear if you have ever done ribbon on cards before, or if you are going to absolutely fall down the rabbit hole of this whole ribbon system. I'm in love with this. I can't even tell you how relaxing and fun it is. When I first heard ribbon on cards, I was thinking, oh my goodness, how would I do ribbon on cards? I didn't quite understand how brilliant it was going to be. And then my box arrived my box arrived, and then we went on vacation for spring break. And so I opened it before I left to peek inside. And then all of spring break, I was just kind of not writing down ideas, but my mind was just going a mile a minute with all of the fun things to do and create once I got home. I kind of love that idea too, when you can take a peek at something and then you have some dedicated time away from it, and then you can come with really fresh eyes and fresh ideas. It just gives you a lot of time to ponder, and that's a really good idea, even if you're kind of struggling with, having a creative block. Sometimes it's nice to step away just for a moment. Not that I had a creative block with this. I almost didn't want to go on vacation, though the vacation was nice, but I wanted to stay home and create. Okay, I'm just going to pinch those together, and then let's add the gold to the very top. Okay, and then we'll add the gold to the very top. Kind of pinch that into position. Not pretty. And the glue gives you just a little bit of time to nudge that perfectly into its spot. Okay, now I think this one's probably good. I'm going to place that right there, and then I will just glue all of these pieces together. Okay, I have my final piece. And again, that was 4 pieces of 110 pound. And it's just, I love that look. You can skip this if it's not your thing, or if you wanted to make this faster, you could use little foam adhesives for the back to build up and bring that dimension. I love the paper on paper look, but it does take a little bit of time. Okay, now I'm going to grab some tweezers, and I want to add this piece within my shadow layer. And I decided to do kind of a gold look because I want the color and the statement to remain with the ribbon. The ribbon is the show, and then I feel like the gold just pairs so well with it. Okay, so there we go. Just hover over here, line that up, wiggle it into position. Let's see, this H needs to go over, just like that. Oh, that looks really nice. Okay, let me just let that set for a moment, and then we're gonna place this right on our card. So I'm gonna, again, give that just a moment. I'll put my little dies away, but I want to build my actual card base. Okay, so I'm going to move this off to the side. That looks good. Replace that there. Now I have my scoring tool, and I also have a piece of 110 pound cardstock. This is sized at 8.5 by 5.5. Yes, 8.5 by 5.5. And then I'm going to score it at 4.25. I always have to think about it because I usually do top folding cards, so I always have to think through the measurements for this orientation. Okay, now we have our A2 size card. So now we have 5.5 by 4.25, opening this way, and we can start building the card. So what I'm going to do is open this card up, a little piece here. Let's just put a magnet here just to study that. And then I'm going to take this piece. Now you could absolutely, instead of gluing this on a panel, you could glue this to your card base if you would like. I just wanted to see, I like having that A2 size very visual for me when I'm overlapping, and it works better for me. But you can absolutely, save this paper and actually just construct it on the actual card base. So now I'm going to take my glue once more, and I'm just going to place glue all over this panel. And being generous with my glue because my card panel is quite bulky at this point. Just line that up. And at this point, we are just gluing paper to paper. So this will go down really quickly. Line that up really nice. And I'm just going to hold that there just for a moment and let that settle. You can even replace the blocks. And while that is setting, I can take my little hello, again, bring my tweezers right back in, and I can start getting this glue all applied. Now again, for some further dimension, you could put some foam adhesive back on here. But I do like that paper on paper look. And since I layered so many, I think I'm good to go. The dimension is absolutely there. Okay, I think that looks good. So I'm going to place that down. Isn't that pretty? Put a block there and let that little layer sit. And I think that's going to be a beautiful finished card. Okay, that looks really nice. So there is our final card that was inspired by ribbon. Isn't that so pretty and fun? And again, based on the colors that you decide to use, you could make this look any way that you please. It's amazing how just switching out one color can completely change the tone of the card. So you can really have fun mixing and matching and creating some fun little palettes. So there is the little card that we made today, but again, so many ways that you can be inspired with this beautiful new collection of ribbon. I honestly think this whole system it's simply genius. I am in love with this idea. Before seeing this, I didn't even know this was possible. So all of this just makes me so excited. I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, everything that you see used, including the new stamp set and the coordinating dies, the little background cover plates that will help you to actually weave the ribbon through. All of that will be down in the description box below, so be sure to just click on the title of this video to open up that box to see all of the supplies. I really hope you enjoyed this. Please be sure to give this a thumbs up if you enjoyed watching this card come together or getting some new inspiration with how you can do ribbon on cards. I can't wait to see you in the next video. So many fun things coming up as we continue crafting for spring, and I can't wait to continue crafting with you soon. Bye.